Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Jake Anthony and Beyond. This is a new series I'm going to try out. It's going to be about news and just things that I find interesting. And I think there's just too much stuff going on in the world to not talk about. So here's my attempt to doing a news-like series. I would like to do this way more often than the rest of my videos because it's quicker and I love discovering things especially when I'm doing it every day. This would be a great idea. Anyways, the first thing in the news segment. What should I be putting on a news voice? No, I'm not going to even try. Anyway, this first article is about being mindful and how there's a study that was performed by some people, I forgot who, shows mindfulness might not work as you expect. I read it and it was okay. It was okay. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, honestly, because they didn't really expand on how great mindfulness is, how beneficial it is. All it says is right here, mindfulness does have benefits. That was like the only real positive about mindfulness that I saw. But it was a very interesting article. It says, what's surprising and particularly striking about our results is that mindfulness didn't seem to affect whether people had a more positive stress response in the moment, said Thomas Saltzman, a researcher in UB's psychology department and the paper's lead author. Did more mindful people actually feel confident, comfortable, and capable while engaged in a stressful task? We didn't see evidence of that, despite them reporting feeling better about the task afterwards. So I saw that in this article that it only changed the perception of their stress. And I think the researchers here, they just stopped there. They just kind of accepted that mindfulness is like borderline placebo. Okay, that's what I'm getting. I don't like that because like it does so much. Mindfulness. See, mindfulness. Here, I even brought up a tab about mindfulness. This one says, I highlighted this right here. Luckily, there are many informal ways to practice mindfulness, such as mindful eating, mindful walking, or even mindful conversation. To practice mindfulness informally means to engage in every activity with the intention of being mindful. This involves slowing down, paying attention, suspending judgment, and fully engaging in whatever experiences is happening in the present moment. So, the difference between mindfulness and meditation is that mindfulness is about being present in the moment in a situation, and meditation is purposefully being present for a certain amount of time. Yeah, pretty much that's what, in a nutshell. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading here. Mindfulness does have benefits, but appears to be limited in what it can accomplish while people are actively engaged in stressful tasks like taking a test, giving a speech, or sitting for a job interview. Instead, being mindful may only benefit people's perception of their stress experience after it has ended. Okay, so the thing about dealing with stress is I feel like, yeah, there's different situations that strike different nerves in our brains, you know, in our thought processes. And so, yeah, mindfulness isn't the cure for for getting rid of stress. Obviously, there's so many other areas like mindfulness. We can't just be mindful. Like, meditate to grow. We can meditate to grow neural pathways. This helps us with like decreasing our emotional responses or reactions, and helps us respond intellectually and consciously. We can do shadow work. Like shadow work, this is the nitty-gritty of healing a traumatized mind. Like the things that scare you, like the things that motivate you, the things that supposedly define who you are. Like these things are why we're pulled back into a predictable reality, because we know what hurts us. We know that's why we cling to pain, because we're familiar with it. And we would rather experience this pain that we're familiar with than discover something new that could hurt us more, or hurt us in a more painful way. So there's different aspects of the mind to deal with stress that isn't just mindfulness. It's shadow work. It's the root of what triggers stress. So yeah, that's that. I thought it was really interesting, but I thought I wanted to add a little bit to it, because I am a little cocky. I don't know. I wanted to talk about it. I don't know. I'm interested. Anyway, in the next piece of news, what is this? I didn't. Okay, I thought I was gonna skip this one. Kangaroos really can talk to us. All right, I totally thought I was gonna skip this one. Pretty much, okay, I'll just cover it just because I accidentally clicked it. Yeah, pretty much, you know how like dogs can, you can point at something with your finger and they'll look at what you're pointing at. That's like a form of communication that they've evolved through domestication, I believe. Like over the years of time. Yeah, so kangaroos, there's a situation where these people were holding a box of food, and here, I'll just read a piece of it. 10 out of 11 kangaroos actively looked at the person. Wow, who wrote this? Yeah, editor Jake popping in right here. Yeah, that's why you're dumb, because you read that wrong. Anyway, continuing. There was a form of communication happening from the kangaroo when the human was either holding the box or put the box down. It was trying to motion to the box and the human to open the box to give the kangaroo the food. And the conclusion of the article was that they are now including the study of communication, human and kangaroo communication in the geez, I can't find my words. I always do this whenever I'm like filming. It just leaves my head. And anyway, that's not really that important. I just thought it was cool. Next up, we got some loneliness. This is about how loneliness looks like in the brain. It says we use the default network when remembering the past, envisioning the future, or thinking about a hypothetical present. The structure and function of this network is positively associated with loneliness, Oh, geez, I read that wrong. The structure. Am I reading this wrong? Or the structure and the function of this network is positively associated with loneliness. Maybe because lonely people are more likely to use imagination, memories of the past, or hopes of the future to overcome their social isolation. Ouch. 'Cause me. Totally me. Yeah. So apparently they did, I think, a lot of brain scans. 40,000. Oh, not brain scans. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, 40,000 middle-aged adults volunteered to have their information included, which probably included MRIs of their brains. To get to, how... Yeah, so loneliness can be... hold on. Yeah, so I think the lesson that comes out of this is we need to probably like stimulate our brains in more original ways. And I say original meaning like how we were living thousands of years ago, off the land. Like what were we doing every day? We were probably hunting. We were probably gathering food, building, dancing, and I don't know, so many things. There's so many things, okay? The fact that my point is, like, I think because of the isolation we have now in this society where we're living in boxes, aka your home, your apartment, your whatever, we have grown this habit of using our imagination, reminiscing on memories of the past or hopes for the future, to overcome our isolation, to distract us from this unnatural box that we're forcing ourselves to live in. I think that we've got to definitely, I don't know, I think we should learn about our ancient human history, like what makes us human, what makes us part of the natural ecosystem that we're in, that we're supposed to be, like that we were born into naturally. What can we do to avoid this way of thinking? Yeah, I think that's something to think about. Next up, contemplating death. This article says, encounters with death indeed can sometimes wake us up. They snap us out of a trance-like state in which we are indifferent to life and unaware of the blessings in our lives. But I think we can gain some of these benefits by simply contemplating death. Bro, death is like one of my favorite topics to talk about, because it covers so much, and I don't know, a part of me gets really enthusiastic when death comes up. Anyway, I will continue. In the Buddhist tradition, monks in ancient times were advised to meditate in cemeteries or sit down next to any dead, decaying bodies they found on their travels. Yo, I'm gonna probably meditate in a cemetery. That sounds... Not because it sounds cool. Bro, that sounds so cool. I'm gonna I'm gonna meditate in a cemetery, bro. You ever meditated in a cemetery? I'm joking. They were advised to contemplate that one day this would be their fate too, as a way of becoming aware of the impermanence of life and the foolishness of being attached to this world. Preach! Those words, man. Beautiful picture. In one Buddhist text, the Satipatthana Sutta, hopefully I'm not butchering that, the Buddha tells his monks that if they see a dead body, one that is newly dead, one being eaten by animals, or one that is nothing more than a skeleton or pile of bones, they should tell themselves, my own body is of the same nature. Such it will become and will not escape it. Whew. Could you imagine meditating next to a dead body? Or a pile of bones? Like we're not, I think later in this article that it says that we're not really used to seeing death because of hospitals and how like our health system has evolved so efficiently over the years that when people die, they're usually in the hospital. You're never around someone that dies right next to you. It's just a rare occasion. So I think that's in a way sensitized us to death when it does happen, especially here in America, because we're very advanced in our health and science area. So looking at other cultures that aren't so advanced or haven't let go of any type of traditions surrounding death, they're not sensitive to the subject. Like apparently they're meditating next to their loved ones that died. I mean, I've seen videos of people, I forgot what country, but a family member, has died, and they keep their body around, and they dress them up, and they throw a party, and they celebrate their life. And I think even one place digs up the corpse out of the grave once a year, or digs up the casket or something like that to celebrate the life. Like they really see past the physicality of their loved ones. They really see past, because I feel like that's such a healthy, such a beautiful way of dealing with death too. Anyway, I'll continue here. This might seem rather extreme, but we need to remind ourselves of the reality of death. Over the past few years, death cafes have been a growing phenomenon. Death cafes? People simply gather together and talk about death, discussing their feelings and attitudes. Okay, that's interesting. In my view, this is something we should do regularly. It may not be feasible for us to meditate next to dead bodies, but we should take every day to contemplate the reality and inevitability of death. Death is always present and is transformational, and its transformational power is always accessible to us. Becoming aware of our own mortality can be a liberating and awakening experience, which can paradoxically, it might seem, help us live authentically and fully, perhaps for the first time in our lives. I can relate to that so much, because about 3 years ago, I had quite a dark. I hit a bedrock, mentally, and that was like my first time I was really considering these suicidal thoughts that were entering my brain. Yeah, I'm going there. But shortly after that period, after loved ones and friends and being patient with myself, all collectively helped me process life, living life, and what that means. But also, it did raise a lot of questions about death that I started to explore. Once you dip your toes into this ocean of, holy cow, I'm gonna die, area, this holy cow, I'm going to die fear. There's a lot of questions. Where am I going to go after I die? What is dying exactly? Why do people talk about ego death? What is the ego death? Why is it so liberating for some people? There's so many questions, and I started to really research it because I really wanted to know. And then earlier this year, I was diagnosed with a disease called IBD, and like that's some heavy stuff. So I've definitely thought about my mortality, and it's definitely waken me up from the the dread of living another day. That sounds depressing, but it's the truth. Like, I was dreading living. Like, I was dreading going to work. I was dreading coming home and just doing nothing. I even dreaded going to sleep, because I know that after I go to sleep, I immediately have to wake up and go to work again. Like, it's a horrible cycle, and I think it can definitely scare people and push them down an anxious and dark path. But I think you can't stop asking questions. You cannot stop asking questions. Once you just say, man, I'm going to die one day. Yeah, not everything's meaningless. If you stop there, like, bro, don't. Please, don't. Ask questions. Do your research. After doing a bunch of research and questions and talking about death, and which, I'm still doing, but for the most part, I've definitely grown this polarity of value when it comes to living life and the thought of death. There are two polar opposites living in my head, but I think there's more pain to be. There's going to be more pain if there isn't a balance of pondering life and pondering death. I feel like there's going to be more pain if you're just pondering life and living life to the fullest. And if you're just focused on living life, I don't know. You're probably going to grow a really strong attachment to the physical world. And that's pretty much what Buddhist monks' purpose is, to grow that conscious awareness to the point where that they realize they are not their body. They realize they don't have to identify as the body, and that brings liberation. It has for me. It has for many. So yeah, that's that, and that's that. I think that's going to conclude my news segment. I hope y'all enjoyed. I don't know if I have a name for it yet, but I probably will come up with something clever. Please subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at cjakerun, and even on TikTok. I have a TikTok as well at cjakerun. It's only comedy videos right now, and I'm actually going to be posting some comedy videos on this channel as well. But it will be cohesive with the spiritual, metaphysical, philosophical, scientific areas. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to create more content like this, because this is basically a podcast. I'm just doing it alone. So yeah, all right, that's it. Have a good night. Ponder death and stuff. Go talk to a kangaroo. All right. Have a good night. Bye.